So on YouTube, you're able to analyze your subscribers and your videos. And something that I noticed is that whenever I discuss anything about finances, or I discuss something about having a reserve account, anything really financial, other than how much something costs, people are generally not interested, which kind of puzzles me a bit, because when you want to start a security company, a private investigation company, or really any company, the number one thing or resource that people lack is money. People think that you're able just to start a security company. You just save a little bit and then you start. It doesn't work that way. Now, through other videos, you know how much it costs to start a private security company. And in another video, I discuss $26,000 to $27,000 is not an outrageous number, and I justify all of the numbers that create the $26,000, $27,000. With private investigations, starting a private investigator business, you can get away with about $1,500 to $3,000 as in startup fees, and you're depending on where you're located, it's going to vary how much things cost. You work at a home office, things are going to be cheaper, even for private security. So in this video, I'm going to discuss some different ways on how you can save money for the future, or maybe for a future business. The first part of the video is designed for those of you who are maybe new to private security. Maybe you're looking to start a job with a private security company, or maybe even a private investigations company. Let's begin and have that discussion. And when we get to a second discussion, I'll give you some tips on how to save up money for a security company. But the first half is dedicated to those of you who are starting private security, private investigations. So when you start off with a company, you want to see if they have a 401k program, a 457B program, or a 403B program. All of these programs that I mentioned, the numbers are actually, they reference a tax code. So these are tax-deferred savings account. So what you do is, usually through direct deposit, you allocate a certain amount of your paycheck to one of these tax-deferred saving program. And the thing that helps you, what helped me in the past, is that there was automatic deductions. So when I got these little raises, a quarter raise, 50-cent raise, $1 raise, I really didn't feel like I was investing into these tax-deferred savings account because the amount was so minimal. Now, I started off with $500 a week, and this is in the early 2000s, every 2 weeks, and I noticed I didn't have enough money to eat. So then I changed it to $250, and then ultimately went down to $25. Now, you might be thinking, $25 for every other week or every month, that's nothing. That's not going to get me nowhere. No, you have to be patient. You see, the $25 is going to eventually grow if you put it into the right account, that is. The $25 might be $30, and then $35, and then $40, and then it just keeps growing and growing and growing. See, a lot of these tax-deferred savings programs are connected to mutual funds, and the mutual funds are connected to stocks. And unless these companies bottom up to zero, then your account's going to be to zero. But if this happens, you're talking about a catastrophe, an economic collapse. And I'm not talking about the stock market crash of 2009, 2010. I'm talking about some type of terrorist attack that shuts down the top 500 companies, producing companies out there. The chance of that happening, it's always there, but I think your chances of generating a significant amount of savings account are greater than our chances of a terrorist attack putting all these corporations out of business. So think about that. Now, if you are with a private employer, most private employers offer the larger ones. They're able to allow you to deposit money into a 401k. If you work for a nonprofit organization, maybe a hospital, they have a 403B program. And then if you work for if you start a law enforcement career or some career in government service, it's usually a 457B program. And I think that the numbers that I just mentioned, the programs, I don't think that they're just connected to California. I think it's all over the world, not the world, all over the United States and the territories. I think these tax codes apply to those territories. Okay. I know some people that they thought that they were just going to work maybe private security for a year, 2 years, just something like a Band-Aid fix, just something to fix the current income situation, but they end up doing it 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years. Okay. You don't want to go and hit the year 30 and all of a sudden realize, you know what, I should have invested, I should have put my money into a tax-deferred savings program. No, you don't want to have that discussion with yourself, especially if you are not retired yet. I think this video is going to be beneficial because you can learn the mistakes from others. See, a wise person learns from the mistakes of others, and a fool only learns from the mistakes of their own. So I wouldn't just go out there and just try to see what works. No, this has been working for many years, investing in tax-deferred savings programs. Okay, and I always, I run into people that are much older than I am, and I always hear the words, I wish I would have invested. I wish I would have put some money here. I wish I would have done that. And then by the time that you're able to, it's maybe a little bit too late. Now, somebody made a comment the other day that you're never too old to make positive change, and that's so true. So even if you're in your 70s and 80s, you could still save money, but your chances of having that greater advantage begin when you start the workforce. You're talking about whatever age you start the workforce, 15, 16, 17, 18. Quick story, I ran into a guy yesterday, actually. He works in the fields, he works lettuce, and he's known as the fastest lettuce chopper, right? His face is weathered away, the wrinkles, his hands are calloused, and you could tell he's earned an honest living, and he's done this for 30 years. 30 years working in the fields. Now, I really appreciate this gentleman, and I am humbled that there are people out there that will do this for me, especially in America. I really appreciate it. We need people to work in the fields. But is this guy a manager or a supervisor? And I think in Spanish they call him magradon. Correct me if I'm wrong, those of you that are Spanish speakers, but he's not even a magradon, and he lives in a homeless shelter. So I do appreciate him, but you also have to realize that maybe at one point in his life he thought, I'm only going to do this for a week or 2 months or 3 months, but he ended up doing this for 30 years. And time flies, you guys. It's like a speeding bullet. It's fast. Okay, you don't want to look back and say, hey, I should have done this, I should have done that. Okay, so that's the tax-deferred savings program. Okay, now you might be thinking, hey, you know what, Sean, I work for a small company, they don't even offer that. Well, if they offer some form of direct deposit, open a separate checking account, throw away that ATM card or that account card that comes with it, throw it away. Maybe even throw away the checkbook if you have a checkbook. Okay, but just direct deposit in there, $20, $25, $50, and before you know it, you're going to have a significant amount. Don't even look at the statements. Okay, well, every once in a while, but just put it away and look at it when maybe you're ready to start a business and see how much money you have. Okay, $20, $25, $50, whatever you can afford. But remember, you cannot afford not to save any money. Okay, most people don't have the luxury unless you have some type of inheritance, you have some other form of passive income, but most people have to work well into their 50s, 60s, and 70s. Okay, so use a direct deposit route if there's no deferred comp program, and put that account away somewhere when you're ready to start your business or your adventure. Even if you don't want to start a business, just put it away for a rainy day. Okay, so in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now, look at that account and you might be surprised on how much money that you have. You're going to have financial freedom. You're not going to be stuck with the strings that are attached to having to work, having to pay rent, having to pay a mortgage, having to pay a car payment. It feels so good to be financially free. Okay. Now, For those others, you might want to also consider having some type of, if you work for a company that offers vacation time, in California, you're able to cash that out when you leave the company. So my recommendation is don't take a vacation every time. I mean, take a vacation to release some stress, but not just because you don't feel like going to work. Just save as much vacation as you can, and at the end, cash out. You might be thinking, again, I might be only there for 1 day, 2 days, a week, or a month. You never know, okay? Prepare to work somewhere for a longer time than expected. And when you do this, okay, you might be surprised to see your vacation bank. I mean, vacation bank is really, it's almost like a tax-deferred savings program. It's almost like put it into some type of mutual fund, a stock, because you might be paid, minimum wage 1 year, and then in 5 years or 3 years, you should be getting these little increases, 25 cents, 50 cents, $1, $2. And when you cash out your vacation, okay, you're supposed to get your hourly rate times how many hours of vacation are due to you. Okay, just something to consider. So for those of you who intend on starting a business, I may have skipped a little bit. Direct deposit savings account. And even those of you who don't want to start a business, you're just looking for stability, a place to work, you want to do the direct deposit in another account, not your regular account. And then number 2, if you're working somewhere, you get vacation time, save that time. Try not to take vacations unless you really need to relieve that stress. Okay. If you have any other ideas on saving money for maybe starting a business, private investigations, or private security, please leave a comment below, and perhaps we can all learn from this. Or if you already own a company and you have some ways of saving money, or ways of gathering revenue that you need, or the money that you need to start the business, if you would please share with us as well, that'd be really helpful. This video is limited to the few topics I discussed. There's a lot more to discuss in other future videos. So hope you guys like this video. Like, subscribe, share, and be safe.